Hello everyone, I'm Aaron Simmons. This is Philosophy for Where We Find Ourselves, April 14th, 2020. What does it mean to persist? To stay grounded, to remain committed to what matters despite the fact that everything around you begins to crack, begins to shake. Although persistence is related to ideas that we have already discussed, such as resilience and grit, and it is anchored in conceptions of appropriate humility, showing reverence, developing one's character, I think that it's also something distinctive and worthy of its own reflection. Different than some of the other ideas we have considered, persistence indicates the notion of continuous movement in a particular direction. It's linked to the notion of staying one's course, of staying fast, of moving continuously in the direction of the horizon toward which one strives. I, in fact, think persistence is something that we learn most effectively by watching those around us display it in their own lives. The person who taught me persistence is a man called Tom Buford. He was a philosopher. He taught at Furman University for many decades, and unfortunately passed away about a year and a half ago. Tom was one of these people who spent his life devoted to truth, devoted to goodness. Tom wrote a number of books. I'll link some of them in the description below. But he was known most importantly for his work in personalism, theistic personalism in particular. In Tom's case, I learned persistence because towards the end of his life, the great philosopher was stricken with Parkinson's disease. And I watched him over about 5 or 6 years weaken, his body continue to become just a shell of what it had been. His strong stature became bent, and he became eventually confined to a wheelchair. But nonetheless, despite the fact that his language became more labored and he had to search longer for different words, we would still get together about once a month for years and do philosophy. And when we would do philosophy together, his eyes would twinkle and he would lock back in to that directionality that had defined his life. He, in fact, used to tell me a story about persistence. And it was meant as a mode of encouragement to me for how to navigate the difficulties of middle age. And he would say this: Aaron, be like the duck. Be like the duck. And I would say, Tom, what do you mean, be like the duck? And he said, be as calm as can be above water, and then kick like hell underneath it. And what he meant, of course, was that our work, our drive should continue. We should persist because it matters that we go in a direction that we take to be significant. But we should not let this become a public display such that it's about us rather than about the direction itself. I am grateful for the legacy of Tom Buford. I'm grateful for the example he set for me of what it looks like to be persistent. But I also am pleased to be able to share him with you, this little anecdote that he provided about how it is that we can persist, how we can be like the duck. Today, be like the duck. Be like Tom. May we all be persistent because truth continues to be something worthy of our lives. Regardless of the difficulties we face, regardless of the strangeness of the world right now, may we persist, because the only other options are either standing still or moving backwards. May we move forward together in persistence. I'll see you tomorrow, unless a piano falls on our heads.